Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Comp 75. I don't know why that's funny to me. Welcome to week boom 7. I hope you are all home and you are well. All right. So Tuesday, we're doing the video today instead of yesterday because it was Juneteenth yesterday. And I hope you had a happy and celebratory Juneteenth. We did. We had a little family get together, a little party. So if you had tried to reach me yesterday, I was just out of the office. I was out of everything except for the holiday weekend. But I'm back now in the commander's chair, almost ready to go. Ooh, 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 ooh. Mm, mm. Delicious. Ranesh, here's to you, and you know why. Now I am ready. You're sufficiently caffeinated communication instructor. All right, I want to start this video, and there's only one this week because we don't have any material really from last week because that was residency. I want to start this by giving, expressing a heartfelt, and I mean that, a sincere thanks to all of you for a fantastic 2 days of residency. I was telling a colleague of mine who works at the University of Missouri how terribly impressed I was with your level of preparation, how engaged you were. And I did push on you a little bit. That's because I love you, and how well you responded to that. Okay. And all around 360. I think you did a fantastic job, and I really, really appreciate the work that you put in prior to it, the work that you put in there. I mean, you smoked through that writing exercise, but bam, and everything that everyone in the class brought to the table. So thank you so very, very much for your time and effort and travel. And it's a long ways, and everybody's got families and jobs. Job well done. Okay. All right. So for this week, we are back to our regularly scheduled program that is of readings and questions. The questions, or the readings, I should say, let's start with that, from this week, are taken from Wilson et al. All right. It's one chapter, but it's a long chapter, but it's an extremely important chapter. And in this chapter, and this is page 139 to 170, you will find a focus on strategy and tactics. And there's a couple of communication matrices and strategy briefs I want you to pay attention to, particularly on page 154. Now, although the brief is for a press release, all right, this formula is universal in all three of the areas of communication that we're studying, as PR and marketing. And now we're into our marketing section of the class, by the way. PR, marketing, and not-for-profit. When you're designing a communication campaign of any kind, if you can find answers to the questions that Wilson and company list on page 154, that is, who's the key public? Okay, and this doesn't mean just, it's this demographic, but what are their motivations? What are their assumptions? What platforms do they tend to use? What sort of linguistic idioms or idiomatic expressions characterize this public? All right. First, select. What do you want them to do? What's your desired action? How would you headline it? How are you going to grab their attention? What would be the lead? Now, for those of you that don't know, the lead is the first line, the first thing they read. I mean, you want to hook them. Remember back to the lecture during residency. What's the hook? All right. So this is a simplification of that evaluation, that longer writer's evaluation that I gave you while we were in residency, right? What is the primary leadoff? What is the secondary leadoff? All right. Who are the opinion leaders? Who are going to be your influences? Are there any graphics that appeal to this particular public? Right? Where and when should it be distributed? Back to the public's platform, and so on and so forth. So for this week in Blackboard, one of the questions asks you to take that, that strategy brief and apply your semester project to it. Now, you can work in your teams. That's perfectly fine. And so what I want you to do for that answer, and it's the very first one in Blackboard, is I actually want you to reproduce those. They're not questions, but they're sort of these one-liner, these 1 or 2 word start-offs, like public, platform, primary, secondary, these sorts of things. And I want you to fill that in with the information from your project. Now, per the feedback that you got while you were presenting at residency, if it's not clear and you can't tell from looking at your own stuff, all right, get it in there, fill it in there. Okay, so that's the first thing that I want you to be looking for in this week's reading. And then the second thing that I want you to look for, and this chapter spends a lot of time with, is making the distinction between strategy and tactics. And a confusion of those two, or a forgetting of one at the expense of the other, or both, is common in communications that don't work, especially when you're dealing with the public. And I'm not going to go into that because Wilson et al., they do a fantastic job in making clear what a strategy is, what a tactic is, how the two relate to each other, so on and so forth. And then finally, the third thing I want you to watch for in this readings is how is it that platforms, okay, play a key role in the completion of your tactics for the execution of your strategy for the delivering of your message. And again, per the feedback that you got in residency, some of you said, well, we'll put it on this platform, we'll put it on that platform. Well, consider your public if they use that platform. So back to the Osbury University case in which you were telling them to stop. Okay. So shorter reading, but there is some vital information in there, right? Those 3 things. Watch for those 3 things. All right. The strategy brief, the difference between strategy and tactics, extremely important, and discussion and evaluation of platform, excuse me. And you've already had exposure to this. I mean, looking at analytics and the various matrices that go with the various platforms. Okay, so this should be like, all right, okay. So that's the material for this week. That's the readings for this week. Okay, a couple other pieces of business. Remember that you have a midterm exam coming up this coming weekend, and it'll open up on Saturday, and that is the 24th, and then it's going to shut down on Sunday, that is the 24th, and it'll open up on the 24th at like the stroke of midnight, so from the Friday over. So anytime you want to jump in. A slight adjustment. I know that in residency I said I'd have points vary from 8 to 5. Out that, I'm just going to make them all 5 points. It's easier by way of grading for me. Now, what I might do is for some of the longer ones, I think I said 40 questions. If I'm looking at, I'm writing them now, and if I'm looking at some of the short answer, fill in the blank, and I was like, okay, this is about twice as long as everything else. Okay, maybe I'll count them as 2 questions instead of just 1 and make it 10 points. And so instead of, so double up, instead of, 40 questions, it's 39 or something. You get what I'm going. Okay. So use the study guide, go through Blackboard, including this week, and look at the topics, specific items, be familiar with the terminology, and be able to discuss it. All right. And then you're going to be all ready. For this week, I will be grading your presentations from residency, And I owe you an apology. I had thought I'd activated the link in Blackboard for you to upload your presentations, and then I get home and I have these emails from you saying, oh, it doesn't work. And it's like, okay. So if you'll go back into Blackboard, I know I think all of you sent them to me in email. I have to have you upload them through Blackboard because that puts them into the Blackboard gradebook, and that allows me to, when I evaluate them, then those points go into the gradebook. All right, so no penalty. If you could please upload those as soon as you see this video, that would be nice. Then I will grade them and get them back to you this week, along with your second essay, which ran last week. And we're not doing, now normally this would be third essay. We're not going to do that because I want you to focus on getting ready for your midterm examination. All right. And then next week, into week 8, since the semester is 15 weeks, I'm going to count it as, like 14 and a half as halfway. I will grade all of your Blackboard discussions, and so you'll get a grade for that. So you'll know where you were at. I do that about halfway through the semester. I grade your Blackboards. Okay. All right, everybody. This is going to be a great week. The readings are short, but the material is focused, very critical. I mean, if I could think of a chapter in this book that I would, take my sticky note pad and and whack it in there and have that section readily accessible right off of my shelf, this would be one of those chapters. It is jam-packed. If you learn these techniques, these distinctions, these plans and strategies, and you really internalize them, effective communication from this point forward, man, it's surprisingly successful. I was going to say it's a breeze, and no, it's not. And that's what makes it fun. It's, trying to figure out the public, trying to figure out what makes them tick. It's a craft. You just get it by practicing it. Okay. This section really boils down the essentials. All right. Okay, everybody. Again, thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful residency. I think you did a great job. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions about uploading your presentation, just go to the assignment folder, and the link that was supposed to work before, which didn't, now does. It says semester projects. You just click on that red link. And I think when you see it, it's underlined. At least that's how it looks to me. All right. And you just upload the little rascals there. But if you have any issues, text me, call me, email me. I'm holding regular office hours this week, so I'll be there to help you out. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your hard work. Good luck in your preparation for the exam. God bless you, and I will see you on Blackboard. Bye-bye.